Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 1st. You have this chalice card that says rejuvenation and fulfillment. You also have this wolf card that says beware of who you trust. Yeah, this week is weird. I would say actually, in the next few months. I mean, we are in a very weird time just in general for years to come. But I would say, as far as people are concerned, I've said to other signs this week, like, this is definitely a bad week, I think, for like things like road rage, flipping people off, getting into fights, starting arguments, especially like creating arguments in the home and things like that. So I would just avoid all of those things altogether for sure. I think that you should continue this, and like obviously forever. We shouldn't be road raging and things like that, but especially right now, And, just because, I don't know, it's just there is like this fiery thing going on where it's like, I don't know, you might just piss off the wrong person, right? So just don't, is what I've been telling people. I think it's a good week to just let things go as well, especially like in the home, especially if it's like an argument that doesn't need to happen, or, it's like, just, wait till next week, right? It's like, you can tell someone off next week. You can bring it up next week. I would just say this week, let it go. Plain and simple, right? And, I think we are at a time where we should be careful of who we trust. But again, I also don't think we need to overcorrect here, right? It's pretty simple. I think with Pluto and Aquarius, down and dirty, Chris's crappy astrology here, I would say that we should just be looking at the evidence. Does someone say something and then do it? Great. Then you can probably trust them. Do they say things that they don't do? Yeah, probably shouldn't trust them, right? Plain and simple. You have the Seven of Cups, King of Pentacles, and the Three of Wands in your current general energies for the week. And so, sorry, my fish aren't up on the screen here. Let's fix that. But you have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups can represent being spoiled for choice or having a lot more options. That's kind of what I feel for you. Anything you're trying to accomplish this week, I think you have a lot more options than you realize. Because, in typical Leo fashion, we go down to the Eight of Swords here. Eight of Swords is only seeing one way to do things when there are many. So with the Eight of Swords, we just have to stay open to all ways of doing things. And if we do that, then we will be fine. So I would make sure that you are paying attention to all ways of doing things that you want to do in your life. And that's what I would do with this energy. I would just stay open. Next, you have the King of Pentacles. Yeah, I do think that you are going to be focused on, building financial security again for many years to come. One thing that I would point out to you as well, Leo, is that Uranus will be retrograding into Taurus one more time. And I believe the day is November 7th. For you fixed signs, especially, this is probably going to make you want to feel more secure in like, whatever way that word means to you. That could be money, sure. It could be love, having a family. It could be the security of your friends. It could be security in, anything else that you do. But, again, I think that a lot of you are working on creating long-term security. And this is kind of like the last visit coming up. Even though, again, this reading is for the week of the 1st. The reason I bring these things up, as I always say, is because astrology is like a wave. You can catch the wave early, and you want to. That is the whole point, right? And, so I would start working with this now. If there are things that you can do to create more like permanent situations in your life or more security, I would just do that with the King of Pentacles, and you'll be happy that you did. As usual, Leo, like for the past few months, like all of a sudden, you've been getting the King of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. They both have these grapes on the card, and the grapes in the tarot represent having a skill that you can do well. It's kind of like, it kind of represents being able to do something, like having something that you're good at. And I would be looking at your skills here, Leo. I know I've been saying this to you for months, and, again, without knowing you, I can't tell you what it is. But, there's something in that for you, Leo. Like, I would be looking at my skills, but specifically for you, Leo, it's like I would be looking at, like, how I can use my skills, like, for something different, And, again, you're all different, so you're going to have to look at your skills here. You have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, card of expansion and growth, and a card of, kind of growing in the world, right? So I think that a lot of you need to grow more. In your next row, you have this courage, this Leo card. It says courage on it. It says boost your courage so you can put yourself out there in a bigger way. I think that's basically what the Three of Wands would be saying, right? Three of Wands, sometimes I feel just a card of taking up more space and doing things to take up more space, whatever that means for you. And, kind of being braver, bolder, and all this other stuff. As I've always said, I have like a billion Leos in my life, literally. It is the dominant sign in my life, Everybody in my family is a Leo, basically. I've lived with my brother who's a Leo. All my friends are Leos, right? So I have a ton of Leos in my life. And, it's funny to me that it's like some of them, not all of them. That I don't think this is very true, but I think it can be true. It's like some of them are, believe it or not, a little bit more. It's like they're bold. Like my brother, he's more of a life of the party type of person, but he does hold back on things. You know what I mean? It's like there are certain things that he doesn't like, kind of really go after it. And again, I'm not criticizing you or anything here, Leo, but I just think you need to take up more space, right? And, be more bold. And I think it'll probably serve you very well. But definitely a time of expansion for you, Leo. So, I do like to see that. But let's see here. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Ace of Cups. Yeah, you have that Chalice card, right? This card kind of looks like just a big-ass cup, just like this card here. Could be love. You've been getting love a lot with me recently, Leo, so there could be a very strong connection. I also think you've been getting the Two of Cups specifically, which is usually a person who's different than your usual type. But, I feel like you're both not each other's types necessarily, but sometimes, I don't know, sometimes that works. Sometimes that's a good thing. It's like, I say we have a type for a reason, right? And usually if we're having a hard time finding a commitment, it's because we pick a certain type of person that usually isn't good, right? So finding someone who's different can be a good thing. Yep, we can't make this up. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Pentacles. Literally everything I said on the King of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is building, leaving a legacy, which I've probably said to you before. Uranus and Taurus wants Leo, I believe all fixed signs, to really focus on building a legacy, like doing something big, doing something that you could pass down to generations even, but also, it doesn't have to be. It could just be like you making, kind of exceeding your own expectations. Let's put it that way. I'm a big fan of people doing that. Like you think that, we all think that we have certain limitations. It's like, how can you blow past one of those limitations? I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but, it'll be worth it with the Ten of Pentacles. With the Three of Wands, you have the Wheel of Fortune. A lot of Wheel of Fortune energy. It is kind of funny that I think that there is luck. Are we in a perfect time? Hell no. But there is this element of luck in the astrology. There is this where lucky things could happen, or we could get lucky, or we could, encounter something that increases our luck, right? Now, this is going to be an action that you're going to have to take. It's not going to magically happen, but, definitely could be a lucky time for you. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Metamorphosis card. It says your inner self is being renewed day by day, so new and better ways can come forth. You have this Leo card. It says Courage. It says boost your courage so you can put yourself out there in a bigger way. We already talked about that. Yeah, and this said basically the same thing. It says, so new and better ways can come forth, right? And so, yeah, I think new and better is something that you should focus on. And, this is probably going to involve exceeding your own expectations. Again, where are those false limits that you put on yourself? What is that thing, right? And, where do you self-sabotage? And how can you push past that, that limitation, right? And, it's something I would think about. I think that, really it's probably Pluto energy. Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius. Your opposite sign, Leo. So there could be some things. It's like, where do you always stop yourself is what I feel like saying. And how can you go past that moment or whatever, right? You have the Two of Cups, the Six of Wands, and the Knight of Pentacles. Two of Cups is a perfect match. So if you want love, this could be good. Everybody has been getting these cards of communication. So I don't know what's going on in the collective, but it just seems to me like people are kind of starting things with communication first or more slowly. You even have the Knight of Pentacles here as well, which is kind of a slower moving thing. So, it could be more slowly moving, but it definitely would be a good match if you are attracting love into your life. This could be a person who gets attention. That could be the other thing as well. You have the Six of Wands here. Six of Wands, sometimes, it's it could say you get a lot of attention as well, but, sometimes I think that it could symbolize a person who gets a lot of attention. That could be the hesitation here with the Knight of Pentacles, It's if you're attracting someone like this, that could be what's slowing it down. or whatever, but whatever as well. Two of Cups, I also think, is you and your higher self, and I definitely feel that energy for you for sure. Like, I think there is a need for you to, like, really tap into your own needs, wants, and desires. Sometimes I think Leos, it's like, obviously, I think Leos are very altruistic. They care about the people in their lives, and so it's like sometimes I think Leos put other people in front of themselves too much, and I feel this is saying, like, don't do that. I feel like it's saying put yourself first. You have the Six of Wands. Six of Wands, card of success, card of victory, card of getting attention. Again, I think if you do push yourself past that point where you would normally, like, not give up necessarily, but where you would, like, stop or, whatever that number is for you, if it's a number. It's like maybe you think, maybe your whole life you've thought, I can only make $50,000 a year. Well, like, I would ask you, how can you make that in a month? Like, what do you need to do, Leo, to develop that mindset? And, again, it's not going to be easy, but it's possible. There are plenty of people who make more than that. So then if they can do it, you can do it. I think it's just about mindset, right? And I feel like the Six of Wands is saying, like, what are the changes that need to be made to push past that number? I don't know. It's popping into my head as a number, Leo, whatever it is. I don't know. I would just think about it. You have the Knight of Pentacles. Again, Knight of Pentacles says you have everything you need to do this. He needs to plant seeds in this field behind him, and they will grow. So I think it is a time for you to, like, plant seeds in that field and, get them to grow here with the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is, like, slow movement. He is slow. Sometimes I think he just needs to make a move. So, anything you're thinking about doing, I wouldn't spend too much time thinking. I would spend more time, like, trying to have a harvest. You even have the Nine of Pentacles right here. And the Nine of Pentacles is a great card of a harvest. With the Two of Cups, you have the Nine of Pentacles. Same in the same route. So definitely a potential harvest. You could also be attracting someone who's very independent here. Or, this could say both people are very independent. So, it could be a very independent connection. It's kind of funny, Leo, because I do feel like, if you're attracting something where you're both very independent, I actually think this it's like you could end up being very clingy with this person, like, not in a bad way, just, it's like maybe normally you're just like, maybe normally if a person is clingy, that turns you off. I'm not saying this person's gonna be clingy or anything, but I just see you being more attached, maybe. With the Six of Wands, you have the Strength card, you showing up here, so definitely you getting attention, Leo. Again, the attention is beating the number. I don't know why. I read intuitively, and that's the message that's popping into my head. There is, like, a number, like, and it could be with anything. This could be your health. It could be a number with your money. It could be a number with, like, maybe you always date a person and you only make it to 6 months, and after that you break up, right? There is something about, like, literally a number. I think that there is something that repeats in your life, and I feel like this is encouraging you to do things to kind of, I wouldn't say you're breaking a curse here, Leo, but, it's like maybe it feels that way a little bit. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Moon. Yeah, the Moon is like a fantasy. Something needs to become a reality, basically, The Moon is not necessarily a bad card. The Moon is one of those cards I think it gets, like, a bad rap in the tarot. I don't really think there are bad or good cards in the tarot because, tarot is loose guidance at best, and you can choose to work with the energy or not. So it's like, obviously, if you don't work with it, yeah, sure, it'll be bad. If you do work with it, it'll be good. It's up to you, right? You're the one that is calling the shots in your own life. But the Moon kind of says something right now is a fantasy, and it needs to be balanced. We have this dog and the wolf, dog and coyote, whichever you prefer, and it kind of represents balancing your wild side with your domestic side. And so I think you need to balance one or the other. I think you need to balance your emotions as well. You have the King of Cups showing up in this reading. We have this lobster here, and the lobster, lobsters don't do very well on land, and they are wearing their armor. And the lobster is kind of like a warning to the fool when he gets to the Moon card that he needs to release his emotional armor. He needs to approach something and be willing to be vulnerable. And, I talk about this all the time because, I get a lot of comments from people that are like, I'm never going to be in a relationship again, or I'm not going to do this because people cheat or whatever. And it's like, then people will tell me about all the rules that they come up with for the next person that they're going to date. I'm like, so you're entering into that relationship as a person that you aren't even are. Like, you know what I mean? You are entering into that relationship as a different person than you are, because you are putting all these rules. You're trying to do all these things to prevent something from happening that could happen anyway, right? We cannot control another person. So it's like, I understand it because people don't want to get hurt. But really what you're saying is you don't trust yourself, because again, every single relationship I've been in, every single person has told me exactly what was going to happen. I just didn't listen. And so we just have to listen. We just have to be better listeners. We just have to pay attention. And then if we do that, there is nothing we have to do to make that person not do what we don't want them to do, which we can't control in the first place, right? So it's like this, it is a mind effort for sure, Leo. But, it's like, I think we would be much better served just like dating, meeting people, paying attention to what's going on. And if they don't like us, they don't like us. If they do something that we don't like, we don't have to be jerks about it. We can just leave, right? And then we're saving a bunch of time, right? And so, again, I think we just need to pay attention. And that's what this card is saying. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this changes card and this do nothing card. Yeah, exactly what I just said. I think you have to do nothing. It's like, there is probably a perfect situation in love and business and whatever you want that exists. And really, there's nothing you need to do other than enter in as you are and, just allow it to work, right? We are in a time of change, so yeah, I think there's a lot of changes going on in general. You have the King of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords. King of Wands about being bold, being assertive, needing to really go for what you want. And so I do think it is a good time for people to like really, make it happen. Whatever it is, make it happen, Captain, right? Whatever you're thinking about doing, whatever you want to take the lead on in your life, I think it would be a great time for that. It's also a great time, I think, to be like more bold, more assertive, to really just kind of like go for it, whatever it is that you're doing. You have the Nine of Pentacles again, of course, which we have in going this way down here. Sometimes I do think that when a card repeats itself like this in a row or diagonal, it's basically the universe is saying the reading is going in this direction, right? And so Nine of Pentacles, of course, is independence. It's a card of gratitude and luxuries, the nicer things in life. I like to think of the Nine of Pentacles as, kind of like creating heaven on earth. And, even some older tarot books and stuff, they describe this card as heaven on earth. It doesn't mean that, life is going to be perfect, but it just says, like, what are the things you can do to change your environment to create more heaven on earth, which I think I said to you recently, by the way, Leo. I'm pretty sure that your environment has been something that has come up in some of your past readings. So, again, like, how can you create a better environment of success for yourself? And, what are the things in your environment that are, causing problems right now? You know what I mean? Or what are the things in your environment that are creating better situations, right? There are things we can change in our environment to create more success, right? And if we do that, then we will be more successful. I always use the example. It's like, I basically now, my setup, all I have to do is plug in a USB-C into my computer, everything turns on. I have a million things that I would have to turn on if I didn't have this set up this way. And so it's like only having to hit basically one button to, turn everything on. It removes a lot of friction. I can just sit down and get started with these readings, right? And so it's like there are little things we can do to make our life better. And, the Nine of Pentacles says that's where success comes from. So how can you do that? I also think what you focus on is going to be important right now. She's training her focus. She has this falcon right here. The falcon just represents the fact that she's training her focus. You have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is a self-imposed restriction. Eight of Swords says you have to set yourself free from things that are holding you back, and that's exactly what I would do with the Eight of Swords. It's like anything that's holding you back. How can you remove yourself from things that are keeping you stuck? And, that's basically what I would do with the Eight of Swords. Literally, you've been getting the Eight of Swords with me since the start of my channel. So, I don't know. It's like a long-term theme. Well, yeah, with the King of Wands, you have the Five of Swords. Same thing. Since the beginning of my channel, basically, you've been getting the Five of Swords, encouraging you to be a bigger risk taker. Again, it's like I said, what is that number? It's like if you take a risk, like I have seen this I've been working with businesses, since I was like basically 18 years old. So, but believe it or not, because believe it or not, marketing genius, right? So I'll just say that. But yeah, I am going to brag about myself here. And, what I would say is that I cannot tell you how many businesses I've looked at where it's like they have a number, they have a certain amount of money where it's like once they hit that, they do something to, slide backwards. It's like without fail. And I feel like, and usually what they have to do is take some sort of risk to, grow, or they have to do something to put themselves out there more. And, that's really what I would do here with the Five of Swords. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Three of Swords. Yes, I got this feeling that you are fearing a heartbreak. I think you need to, well, number one, you could heal your own heart to avoid this in the first place, right? It's like, this is something, it's like something that you can't even control, right? That's like the funny thing. And trust me, I get it, Leo. Like, I get not wanting to get hurt and all that other stuff. But it's like, this is, for those of you that want love, it's like you could be worried about it, but it's like something, it's not even worth worrying about because it's something you can't control in the first place, right? And I think maybe that's what you need to realize. And, but again, I'm not telling anyone what to do or any of that. But what I would say is I think it would be a good time to heal the worries. Or it would be a good time to just, kind of like heal it, right? With the Eight of Swords, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like basically the universe is asking you to get to work here. Eight of Pentacles is straightforward, diligent work. If we work diligently with the Eight of Pentacles, we will find success. And, that's what I would do here with the Eight of Pentacles. Next, in the area of the good stuff, yes, you have this reframe card, right, and this purpose card, and maybe that's what you need to do is, like, reframe any situations that you're worried about not working. Business, love, or otherwise, it doesn't matter, but maybe you need to look at it from a new perspective, and, that's basically what I would do here with those two cards. You have the Four of Cups, the King of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. It's like I feel like you're fearing that something won't be well received with the Four of Cups. Kind of interesting, Leo. This is kind of a Four of Cups message, but kind of not at the same time, because I think it's more like you. Like, I think you are worried that something won't be well received. Like, could be a love offer, definitely with the Four of Cups. Could be, maybe you are putting your work out into the world. Maybe that's the thing that will get you past that number that we're talking about here, whatever the hell I'm talking about. And I think this is saying, well, you can't say that because you don't know. It's an illusion, Leo. We have the moon right here. It's like something that you're fearing won't be well received is the message I'm receiving intuitively here. And it's like, no, it will be. But you can't say that it won't because you don't actually know. I don't know. That's it. You have the King of Cups. Could be attracting a King of Cups type character into your life. King of Cups is usually very level. Now, one thing I will say is basically everyone gets the King of Cups right now. We're in a time of chaos. Uranus and Gemini. Uranus will be retrograding back into Taurus this year, but doesn't matter. What I would say is I think that whenever we're in a time of chaos, like people who are more level-headed are probably just naturally going to be more attractive to us in the first place. So, it makes sense to me, I guess, that everybody gets the King of Cups. Doesn't have to be a water sign, like I said. Just could be a person who's very in touch with their emotions, very stable, very secure, someone who's not worrying about things that are going on too much, all that. You have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is like out with the old, in with the new. Ace of Wands is about passion. Yeah, I mean, if you're attracting a connection, it could be a very passionate connection. Very good for love. Like I said, Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is also about like, I do think Leos need to kind of like rebuild that fire in their life, like that passion. Pretty sure I've been saying this to you more or less for the past couple of months, maybe. Like, I don't think this is a bad thing necessarily. I think we all have these moments where like our passion goes down just for life in general. Ace of Wands is like about building a fire. Ace of Wands is a spark, but a spark is nothing. A spark is like, you have to keep putting wood on the fire. It's like, what makes you passionate in life? And some of you might not know. That's fine. When I say this again, sometimes I get a lot of comments from people that say, I don't know, but I don't have any passions. I'm like, well, you gotta go find those passions. You gotta find something that will make you passionate about. You have to do things that you think you might be passionate about, and then just find out, right? And so, I would encourage you to like feed the fire here, Leo. I guess not. Here you go. With the Four of Cups, you have the King of Wands again. So, both cards repeating here. Like I said, I literally said that, Leo, on that Four of Cups. It's like you are the one that is presenting that cup is what I feel. Normally I wouldn't say that because, the Four of Cups is the hand of God, just like the Ace of Cups. You know what I mean? It's like basically the same thing here and here. It's the hand of God reaching out, making an offer. But I think that it's you. I'm not saying you're making a love offer either. I think this is you presenting something. Is more the energy I get, like presenting your work, putting your work on display, showing off in work, stuff like that would be good. Yes, with the King of Cups, you have the Eight of Swords, whatever, Leo. If this is love, then I don't know, something needs to happen here, Was it you that I said you need to like lube something up here? Like I said something about that. It's like something needs less friction or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was you. So it's like, I don't know, this needs some lube for sure. With the Ace of Wands, and take that however it resonates for you, right? Maybe some of you like lube. I don't know. But you have the Knight of Cups. Are you kidding me? Definitely like a knight in shining armor here with the Knight of Cups. So there you go. Looks pretty good to me. This could also be a dream, by the way. The Knight of Cups is very dreamy. And, this could say, again, you need to build a fire like under your dream. You need to, build that passion back up. You have this bell card that says announcement on it. I think, again, Four of Cups, you could be making some announcements, and I think it would be a good time for you to do that. You have this November card and this hammock. It says taking a vacation physically or mentally. Yeah, I think it would be a good time. If you need a break, take a break. It's a good time for health, right? It's a good time to make sure you're taking care of yourself, to make sure you're doing the right things for your health, all that. You have this Valley. It says deep personal strength and peace that assures success. Yeah, it could be some success coming in for you here. Again, I think that a lot of your readings, you've been getting these like cards of self-care, kind of like the Nine of Pentacles. And so if you don't have something in your life that brings you peace, you should probably go and find it, whatever it is. Like, even if it means that you have to like hide from your kids in the closet for 5 minutes every single day and just like take a breath, right? I don't care what it is. I would like find something here. You have this Nest card. It says, an emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. Yeah, you're a Leo. Duh. I think you get this card with me all the time. And you can't make this up. You have this whale. It says, great worry over nothing. Don't be a whale, Leo, is how I'm going to end this reading, for sure. But looks pretty good, Leo. I like this. Fire signs have had the best readings this week. This week was a little sketchy for other people, but fire signs looks pretty good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.